My name is Dave Romeo, and I hold people accountable to achieving their dreams. For nearly 2 decades, I have coached business people, entrepreneurs, and salespeople, and showed them how to turn their mistakes into masterpieces. My best customers are people who are dissatisfied with their current level of sales and success and are serious about doing something to improve them. Using proven coaching lessons and strategies, I will show them and you how to be more successful in life and in business. Welcome to Focused on Success with Dave Romeo. In business, there's no real way to know where your biggest customers are going to be coming from. Years ago, I was breaking into a new market as a speaker. I was scheduled to speak for the local Chamber of Commerce. The turnout was pitiful. There was only a handful of people there. I remember one man in particular only ever came to 2 of my seminars. However, he did introduce me to another man. That man wound up buying 5 seats for my sales academy, 2 seats for my leadership academy, a couple of season passes. He had me coach every member of his family and his company, brought me in to do in-house training for his company, and even became a seminar sponsor. Now, could you imagine what would have happened if I had not paid attention to that one man who only came to 2 seminars? Just let that be a lesson to never judge any book by its cover. In fact, it reminds me of how I met Elaine Bledsoe, the owner of Golden Eagle Enterprises, a Tupperware franchise in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. The first time we met, I was scheduled to fill in for another speaker at a private club. Elaine happened to be the guest of somebody else there, and they sat me right next to her before I went on. As I was preparing, Elaine mentioned how all the speakers they had had at this particular club were terrible. Boring is what she called them. I was so glad that we had that conversation before I went on. And when I got off the stage, Elaine just gave me the okay sign, so I knew that she had approved of what I did. The 2 of us became good friends from that very first meeting. I was very pleased when not long after that, I saw Elaine and 9 of her other consultants from Tupperware at one of my seminars. Today, Elaine has now been to every seminar I do and more than 100 of my seminars. You just never know where your biggest customers are going to come from. But that doesn't mean that Elaine hasn't had her share of struggles. Even though she came from a wealthy family, they lost everything after her father died. In fact, she was so poor at one point that for 3 years, she was eligible for the free lunch program in her grade school. However, she couldn't bring herself to take the handout and instead just went without lunch and read for 3 years during her lunch hour. She also had to live with her older sister being murdered when Elaine was still a young girl. Terrible tragedy to have to live through. If that weren't enough, Elaine had to learn how to raise 3 young children on her own while managing a workforce of more than 100 people. And most recently, she had another challenge. As she was walking down a flight of stairs, she missed the bottom step and broke her leg in 3 places, which left her incapacitated for 6 months. Imagine trying to run a business laying flat on your back for half a year. Over the years, I've coached Elaine on a number of different topics, including how to recruit new consultants for her business, how to manage a non-employee workforce, how to understand how other people think, and also how to stay focused on her own sales during such a long recovery time. When we come back, I'll show you the coaching strategies I recommended to Elaine to help her rise above adversity and become a legendary business success.
Hi, I'm Lou Lies, the owner of Stages Planning Group. At Stages, we help our clients make smart choices about their money so that no matter what happens in the market, the world, or the economy, they have the highest probability of reaching all of their financial goals. We do this using a process called the financial roadmap, and then we hold our clients accountable to actually doing the work. Visit us at stagesplanning.com. Stages Planning Group. Planning for every stage.
If it bugs you, it bugs us. Tomlinson Baumberger Lawn Care, Landscape, and Pest Control. Your trusted pest control advisor. Voted among your favorite in pest control. Visit mytombaum.com.
No matter what you're doing in Lancaster County, Mix is the place to grab a bite before or after your next adventure. Swing by after playing some sports at Spooky Nook, catch up with some of your friends, or get out for a date night. Bring the family out for a Sunday lunch or test your trivia skills on Thursday nights. Enjoy any occasion with delicious food, drinks, and the friendliest service around in any of our 3 local pubs. Spend quality time with those special people in your life at Mix All-American Pub.
Hi, I'm Jeff Belomo with Belomo & Associates. People come to our estate planning and elder law firm in all phases of life. We believe in education and teaching a client what they need to know and what to expect before it happens through our free educational workshops. We understand that estate planning is more than documents. It is about relationships. At Belomo & Associates, we build relationships and we educate our clients.
One thing I noticed when I was coaching Elaine is that she would frequently become frustrated because while she had learned to overcome adversity, her people were constantly getting derailed by the tiniest little blip in their schedule. It drove her nuts, and so I tried to explain to her the 2 principles of human nature. What that means is that everything that you do, everything that I do, and everything Elaine does is done for one of 2 reasons: to either gain pleasure or to avoid pain. And 70% of our decisions are to avoid pain. Once she understood that, she had to remember that her people were looking through their own lens, and they only worked based on their reference points. Whenever you're trying to lead a group of people who are volunteers, you have to influence and inspire them and show them how what they want they can only get by doing what you ask of them. That was the turning point for Elaine. Another area where I see people run into trouble is they get overwhelmed. What overwhelmed means is that you're trying to solve more than 24 hours worth of problems in only one day. You need to break down the big problems into little tiny bite-sized bits. Once you do that, it's amazing how much you can get accomplished. When we return, I'll introduce you to Elaine Bledsoe so you could see how she overcame setbacks, difficulties, and adversity to become an inspirational leader and role model.
Hi, I'm Mary Ferguson, owner of ProLook Uniform. I'd like to show you what we have in store for you.
ProLook is one of the best kept secrets in Lancaster County. If you're a chef, a doctor, a nurse, or in public safety, come to ProLook for a consistent professional look. Our embroidery and screen printing services help businesses of all sizes brand themselves.
With a store full of inventory, ProLook has what you're looking for. Let us serve you as you serve others. You are our heroes.
I'm Jack Hostetter from JB Hostetters & Sons Mountjoy, your full-service True Value hardware store, serving the public for 89 years. We are more than just a hardware store. We also have greenhouses, plumbing and electrical, paint, rental, lawn and garden equipment, TV and major appliances. And remember, we just don't sell it, we service it too. Great values with hometown service. Our customers are not just a number. We have forged many long-term relationships spanning 3 generations since 1927.
If it bugs you, it bugs us. Tomlinson Baumberger Lawn Care, Landscape, and Pest Control. Your trusted pest control advisor. Voted among your favorite in pest control. Visit mytombaum.com.
Hi, I'm David with Accounting Services of York, LLC, voted Best in York the past 2 years and also recipient of Angie's List Super Service Award. Small business is our specialty. We offer both S&C Corp, bookkeeping and payroll, in addition to personal and nonprofit tax returns. For more information about us, you may visit our website, asyork.net. And remember, we'll count the beans and you enjoy the coffee.
Elaine Bledsoe of Golden Eagle Enterprises in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. Welcome to Focused on Success.
Thank you, Dave.
Elaine, Do you find that over the years you found that people are amazed that Tupperware is still alive and well and going strong?
Absolutely. I hear it all the time. I was recently in a vendor event and people just constantly come up to me and say, Tupperware, oh my goodness, we haven't seen it in years, but I remember that my grandmother had it and I just absolutely loved it.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing to me. It's really an American tradition.
Yes. You know, you've been selling Tupperware now for over 40 years. What kind of changes have you seen from the time when you started to how people buy and what people are looking for today?
There's so many changes in the way we not only do business, but in people's lifestyles. Many of the stay-at-home moms are now in the workforce, so that changes a lot of things. That changes not only how we market our products, the products that we actually make, and also the sales force members that we have.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that in a moment. I know at the beginning, most women were looking for a secondary source of income because there weren't that many options available to them, but that's not the case today.
That's true, and they were also looking for a social outlet as well, and that's what a Tupperware party provided them. It was a great shopping experience for them, and they got together with their friends at the same time while making a little bit of extra money to help out with the income at home.
You know, one of your best qualities is your skill of observation and studying people. What have you noticed, and who's been most interested in joining Tupperware today?
It really varies. We have young women who are just experiencing it for the first time, and the millennials are really looking for a way to have their own business. Because we have such a small investment, it's absolutely perfect for them. But we also have retired people who are looking for a way to supplement their retirement income and to have a social outlet. So it's kind of gone full circle. But in addition, we have men, and that's been a great experience and a really wonderful new market.
You know, when you have a man selling Tupperware, that creates a unique situation that people won't soon forget.
Absolutely, it does. And they do very, very well. They are creative, and they actually will encourage other men to join the company. It's a great opportunity. Again, anybody who's an entrepreneur loves our business.
I also understand that it is a very fast-growing movement for the Latino community as well.
Absolutely. In the Latino community, women are really starting to enter the workforce more and more. And this, again, is another entrepreneurial opportunity for women who are just beginning to get out of the house. And I believe that because we have a specific product for their market, it's even more enticing. We actually have a separate catalog. Not only is it in the Spanish language, but it also has Hispanic-specific products that really speak to their needs.
Now, Elaine, I remember a while ago I wrote about you in one of my books, and I entitled the chapter Biting the Bullet, because you were so used to dealing with adversity but not being defeated by it. And I remember you told me about one of the biggest fears that you ever had was years ago you were told that you were not going to be able to hold on to your beautiful house and property in Quarryville. Can you explain what kind of advice you got and what kind of feedback you got and what you did about that?
I had just gone through a very lengthy divorce, and my daughter and I were living at our property in Quarryville. And at the end of the divorce situation, I was able to retain my home. But friends, family, well-meaning people said to me, you're never going to be able to take care of a property that's on 10 acres of land. You're not going to be able to afford it. And by the way, you better go get a real job. I decided I was going to prove them wrong. I have sort of a stubborn side to me. And so I just said, watch me. And just became very determined that it wasn't going to happen, that this was my dream house. I had built the house, and I wanted to be able to retain it, and I've been very blessed and fortunate enough to be able to do that. But in addition to that, I went from being a manager for Tupperware at that point to owning my franchise.
Well, I always say that the most motivating words in the English language are, you can't do that. And I think you're living proof of that.
Absolutely.
What got you through those difficult times? I mean, it's hard enough to raise 3 young children on your own without managing a workforce of over 100 people on the side.
A lot of faith, a lot of determination, really great friends, and people who supported me, and a lot of positive influence from Tupperware. It's an extremely positive company. A lot of my Tupperware family, who are an extended family that I was able to rely on and who really stepped in. The fact that I was able to drive a free car thanks to Tupperware, and they provided the tires, the tags, and the insurance. In many situations such as mine, having a dependable vehicle is a huge difference between being able to make a living and not. And this was just an amazing opportunity for me. So that's really what it was all about.
You know, one of the things that I love, and I've heard you tell this before, is people say, well, I don't know if I could run Tupperware because I have children.
That's really interesting. To me, it's a family business. And having your family be a part of this business is a huge benefit, not only to me, but also to my children. They grew up watching very up close and personal exactly what I did for a living. They learned how to set goals and how to achieve those goals. My daughter was able to do an internship in the home office in Orlando, Florida, and as a result, they're all very, very successful in their business. You know, the thing about it is it's a home-based business, so I could work it around my family. When my children were younger and they took naps, that's when I worked on it, and it also taught them to be independent, as well as how to run their own business. My oldest son at 14 started his own lawn care business with contracts, complete with contracts and insurance, etc. And I'm quite sure that he learned that from being part of my Tupperware world.
I love the story that you use about the get out of jail free pass a year.
You know, in a time when a lot of parents are being accused of doing helicopter pilot or parenting, I decided that my job was to make them as independent as possible from the day that they were born, to teach them how to live without me. So when it came time for them to be probably in like middle school, the early years of middle school, I told them that from here on, they were responsible for the things they needed for school, whether it was excuse cards, whether it was term papers, whether it was gym clothes. And I had a system set up for them so that they knew exactly where the things were that they were going to need, but it was their responsibility to remember them. So each year at the beginning of the year, I gave them one get out of jail free card that they could call me on the phone to ask me to run something to them at school. If they used it for something like forgetting their lunch money, so be it. If they forgot their term paper later on and it meant they were going to get a lesser grade if they came in late, they needed to really think about how they used that one opportunity. And that may seem really cruel, but you know, kids can make it to after school if they're not going to starve to death if they don't have lunch money. So it taught them how to be more responsible, and consequently, I don't have children who come to me every time they've got a little problem. They've learned how to work out their own.
Well, you faced many difficulties over the years. Let's talk about what happened when you broke your leg.
That was really a nightmare. I missed a step, and everybody has done it. I heard it snap. I broke my leg. I crushed my ankle. I had to have 2 surgeries. And the doctor, when he went to the 2-week post-operation checkup, told me that he had bad news, that he had to do a second surgery. And what he said was, does broken china mean anything to you? When I asked him what it looked like. So he had to really take it apart and put my whole leg back together again. And thanks to a really good surgeon and a really good physical therapist, they told me I would never run again, which is something I've done my whole life, and I can run. I do run. As a matter of fact, I ran in a 5K for autism. My little granddaughter's autistic, and that was my goal. That was in May after I had broken my ankle in November the previous year.
Well, Elaine, I know you. It's not your nature to stand still for 6 minutes, let alone 6 months. You had so much responsibility. You had 100 people depending upon you for leadership, plus you had your own sales numbers that you had to hit. How did you manage being a leader who was stranded in bed for 6 months?
That wasn't easy, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it was, or that I didn't spend a lot of time feeling sorry for myself and crying myself to sleep, especially that winter was a horrible year for snow. And I kept watching. I couldn't see out the window, but I could see the reflection from my mirrors in the bedroom, and I could see it snowing, and it kept piling up and piling up and piling up. But I was determined that I wasn't going to let this change my life, so I was working on my computer. I was online doing internet sales. I was on the phone, just anything that I could do in order to change the situation.
Well, one of the most impressive things that came out of that situation were your sales results. Can you share those, please?
I did personally outsell everyone on my own personal team as far as my sales were concerned, and I did have a 23% increase in sales the year following that.
You know, you gave me some of the best advice the first day that we met. Do you remember what you said to me before I was about to go on and present that day?
That people will not sit through boring twice. So you better be on when you go in front of an audience, whether it's a Tupperware party or a group that you're training. You need to be prepared, and you need to be excited and enthusiastic and passionate about what you do, because they're not going to come back a second time if you're not.
That's true. There's one other lesson that I remember that you taught me that I know you say to all the new consultants, especially after they hear you present.
You know, sometimes they think they can't do what I do, and I always tell them, if you do what I do, you say what I say, you're going to get the results that I get. And it can't be just kind of sort of like it, because everything I do is very intentional. I time things, I do things for a purpose. And if you do memorize what I'm saying, then you'll be able to get the same results.
And finally, what advice do you have to impart to other entrepreneurs that might face more than their share of adversity?
You have to have faith. You have to believe in yourself. Surround yourself with positive people. Don't let the little things get you down. And if nobody died, what's the big deal? Because you really need to focus on the target, the goal, and learn to solve problems. And just believe that tomorrow is going to be a better day.
Elaine, you're such an inspirational role model and leader. Thank you so much for sharing your story on Focused on Success.
It's my pleasure, Dave. Thank you.
Do you have an idea? Looking to optimize your workflow? To attract and retain customers or members and build enduring relationships? With ever-changing new technology, finding your way to the future in business can be daunting. Let us point you in the right direction with superior technical solutions and custom designed to keep you on the cutting edge of your market. Join Skyward Thought for a brighter future.
Looking to get back to your best self after a fall or illness? Call Oakleaf Manor. We partner with some of the area's finest physical, occupational, and speech therapists who perform services on site. Whether staying week to week, a month, or more, our care program is a refreshing, affordable alternative choice for your care plan. Restore, recover, and refresh at Oakleaf Manor. Call Janie Jackson for your free assessment.
Do you own a business? Do you accept credit cards for payment? If so, then you understand the complicated and often expensive world of credit card processing. My name is Rich Horn, and I have helped find millions of dollars in lost profit for hundreds of businesses in Lancaster County, provided better service than they've ever had before, and helped simplify the process of accepting cards for payment. Please contact me for a free comprehensive analysis. I'll help you put profit back in your bottom line.
Finally, I want to introduce you to one of the most inspirational men I've ever met. Years ago, I was doing some training on site at a company when I first met John Gill. Now, like me, he moved from New York to Pennsylvania. In John's case, he moved from the Bronx. And even though he grew up in such a rough environment, it didn't change his compassion and willingness to help other people. I often describe John as a big teddy bear because he's such a gentle soul. I also tell everybody that John Gill is the person most responsible for me going to jail. But let me explain. Years ago, John was working in a prison ministry, and he was trying to help long-term convicts who are about to be released re-enter the workforce. He asked me if I wouldn't mind volunteering to come down and do some mock job interviews with these people who are very nervous. Could you imagine how nervous you are when you go on a job interview? Imagine if you had to explain that you had been incarcerated for maybe 10 or 20 years. I can tell you, that was one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had. It was also quite eye-opening, and I am truly thankful for John for asking me to do that volunteer work with him. But no matter what I did, I can't even hold a candle to what John Gill has done. Now, I want to address the married men who are watching this show. Imagine going to your wife and saying, "There's this man who is going to be getting out of prison very soon. He's going to need a place to stay while he gets on his feet and looks for a job. Would it be okay if he stayed here with us?" Now, as hard as that might be to ask that question for you or me, imagine that John Gill asked his wife 14 times and she said yes every single time. Years ago, I inducted John into my Dave Romeo Seminars Hall of Fame for his humanitarian work. Little did I know at the time that one of those men he had opened his house up to had just robbed him. But that didn't stop him from once again opening up his house and his heart to help other people. I hope John's example of putting others before yourself inspires you to do something like that too. So until next time, I challenge you to dream big, pursue your passions, and stay focused on success.
Is your business in need of coaching? More info at daveromeo.com.